Hey, it's Skelemystyk. I am here today in my celestial observatory. Well, I'm here because I didn't have another house that had enough open floor space to do this in, but I'm here to bring you the subject of this video, which is I have finally managed, after a lot of cussing, cursing, and throwing things about the room, to make a working 69 plot indoor couch potato garden that is low enough to use only a single spell on the ground. It does not require items placed in the middle of the bed. It does not require aiming right. It just requires putting a spell on the ground and going to it. Now I know that right now behind me you see in the garden a bunch of breadfruit bushes. I know that you do. There's a good reason for that, and I'm going to get into that in the subject of this video. In this video, it might have to be a series because this is a complicated process, but in this video, I'm going to show you how to build for yourself a 69 plot indoor couch potato garden that can be tended by single spells placed on the ground. Alright, let's go ahead now and get into this. Now, just a moment ago, you saw that couch potato bed that had a bunch of breadfruit plants in it. And there is a reason for that, and I wanted to tell you what that reason was now before we get started. Actually, there's a few disclaimers that I need to make so far as crafting this couch potato bed goes. This is the lowest and most accurate couch potato bed indoors that I have seen. I haven't seen anybody else actually make a full 69 stack that wasn't high as all get out and had a carpet or some other object in the middle that you had to cast to accurately to make sure you're putting your spell down right. This one will actually work with one spell on the ground, and it will treat all plants just like you're outside. That being said, this is a complex, very complex garden to build. If you're not very experienced at glitching or glitch gardening especially, guys, I'm telling you right now, you're going to huff and puff and curse, and you might give up. It's possible. Hopefully you won't, because this is a bed that's worth it, but it is a difficult build. If you don't have experience with this, it might take you a little while to get this figured out. I'm going to go as slow as I can and show as much as I can about how I do this, but it is complex. That's the reason for the breadfruit seeds. Okay, breadfruit seeds use a large plot just like couch potatoes, and during the course of this build, you will need to plant some seeds to make sure that you have your plots right, and that a plant will actually plant there, because if you have something wrong, sometimes you'll be able to place the plot, but the seed won't go in. And you want to know about that before you get this whole bed done and have to rip it all apart, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is a big fat freaking headache. Big headache. So you're going to go along and plant these seeds as you go, and you don't want to, of course, plow out and ruin a bunch of your couch potato seeds. It's much easier to plow out and ruin a bunch of those breadfruit seeds that are real cheap in the bazaar. I don't know, they're like 480 gold, something like that a piece. And I recommend that you get yourself about 30 or 40 of those seeds to do your practicing with as you make this bed. I really do recommend that. All right, that being said, that this bed is a pain in the butt, I make sure I said it twice. This bed is a crazy pain in the butt to build, but it does work. All right, let's get into the items that you need to build it with. I can tell as I turn just now, I can't really hear you for sure, but I know there's a bunch of groans whenever you see these articles. I use these for my outdoor couch potato beds as well, and I have gotten plethora of many comments about how hard creative vegetables are to find. Guys, I'm sorry about that. Ever since I started making couch potato garden guides, creative vegetables have disappeared from the bazaar. They really have. Anytime I do a video about how to do something, the items to make it seem like they just disappear from the bazaar because, well, everybody's trying it and they're picking up all those items whenever they can. Now, you can get creative vegetables from the bazaar if you're very patient and you want to take the time to wait for it, or you can go to Willie Marks in Hyde Park in Marleybone and farm him. He used to drop these vegetable crates a lot more than he does these days. It seems like they nerfed that drop. I don't know why. It just seems like they did. We farmed it for, I don't know, about an hour or so. Last night on my live stream, I was helping someone get some of those vegetable crates, and we got 2 in about an hour. Other times you'll get more than that. Other times you'll get less than that. But I will agree, yes, they are hard to farm. I do agree, but this bed, again, it was worth it once you see it work in action. All right, the next item that you'll need to get here is a small purple rug. Now, you don't have to use a small purple rug. You can use the small blue trim rug so far as I know, but I'm comfortable using this one for my builds, and so that's the one that I use. The small purple rug you can get from the bazaar most of the time. If you can't find it at the bazaar, you can buy it directly for gold from the vendor named Eric, who is the furniture vendor in Crocotopia. He's up there on the island by the Sphinx, and he sells this rug for, I think it's 360 gold or something along those lines. It's not very much gold. Anyhow, he sells this rug for 360 gold, and you only need one of them. By the way, I forgot to mention, with the vegetable crates, you will need 6, as I have them stacked up here. I'm not sure if I said 6 or not, but just to clear that up. You'll need 6 vegetable crates and 1 small purple rug. The other thing, the next thing that you'll need, and here comes more moans and groans, you will want the flat braided runestone. Say that 5 times fast. Wow, that's a tongue twister. This comes originally from the Raven's Horde pack, which is unfortunately the only actual drop for it. It's not a rare drop, so it shouldn't be too hard to get if you have to get it from the packs. Or, again, if you're very patient and you hunt the bazaar like over the course of a weekend, you might pick one up. You really only need 1 if you absolutely must have. However, 2 will be a help to you and help you out, as you'll see when we build why that is. Because you'll have 1 attached to a vegetable crate at all times to where you can move around and do things. And you'll have 1 just lying flat on the ground like this that you can use for the ground level layers. As an alternate, if you must, and if you are not building a full 69 plot garden, you can use the broad Darkmoor plinth. This comes, where does that come from? It comes from, well, it comes from the Darkmoor packs. That's where it comes from. Anyway, this item isn't too hard to get in the bazaar, however, so you won't really have to be doing any opening packs to get it. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about that. However, again, with this broad Darkmoor plinth, I'm going to illustrate now as a matter of fact. There are 3 items that are mentioned whenever you are doing builds for couch potato beds. They are the flat braided runestone, they're this sewer grate that I have here in red, and there's the broad Darkmoor plinth. Indoors, you cannot, so to my knowledge, you cannot use the sewer grate. If you can put down a carpet, and supposedly it'll sit on a carpet, but I have not got that to work. The sewer grate is lower than the flat braided runestone, but the fact that it doesn't work indoors for me, you know, I don't tend to use the sewer grate at all. The sewer grate is great for outdoors, but so far as I know, you can't get it to place indoors. It's just one of those objects that they have slated for outdoor use only. The broad Darkmoor plinth you can use indoors or outdoors, but it has a drawback, and I'm going to show you what that drawback is now. Put that over there next to it. And we're going to put 2 large soils down. Cancel that out and move this out of the way. Then I'll move this a little bit closer so you can see what's up. And I will put another large soil down to compare. This is why using the broad Darkmoor plinth isn't really the best idea for an indoor garden. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move that down here and out of my way because we're not going to be using it for this video. Here's the problems you have. Jackson's in the way. The broad Darkmoor plinth is almost, in fact, is a little bit more even maybe than twice as high in the air as the flat braided runestone. Whenever you're building indoors for a single spell on the ground garden, height is everything. I know that you guys know by now, if you've done any couch potato gardening, that, let me tilt myself up here, that any plot above, just about above the height of your head will be too high unless you put a carpet in the middle of the bed. And we're trying to avoid that in this garden, trying to avoid that in this video. So while you can use the broad Darkmoor plinth for indoor gardening, you won't be able to use it for a 69 plot bed that can be tended by one spell. It's simply too high. All right, I just wanted to take a moment to show you the difference in height of those beds because, like I said, height is everything whenever you're building an indoor single spell garden. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode now. I think we've got about 10-15 minutes around that time. And I don't want to overload y'all too much with too much information. I want to give you some time to look at this, examine it, think about it, and be able to move on to the next stage with a clear head. If I did this all in one video, it'd probably be about a 2-hour long thing, and I'd probably have y'all beat to death by the time it was done. So I'm not going to do that. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, part 1, please hit that like button, a good hard smash, as well as subscribe and share, and yell my name to the heavens, because I would love to have more of you around here. Until next time, this is Skelemystyk reminding you that whatever else you do, always love the game. Peace! Hey, it's Skelemystyk. Welcome back to part 2 of the 69 plot indoor couch potato garden that's tended with a single spell. In the last video, I showed you the materials you're going to need, talked about some disclaimers that was going to happen here about how tough this is going to be. I might have talked some of you out of it in the first episode. Hopefully not.